And unfortunately, the gentleman, the brother that I was talking to, didn't really appreciate what I was saying, so he pushed me. He pushed me, and then he called the police to tell them that I was harassing him when I hadn't touched him.
What's your name?
My name doesn't matter. And a couple of days ago on Granville Street, a sister lied to the police about me. So on behalf of the public, when we disagree with you, please don't push us, and please don't lie to the police about us either. Would you mind not doing that?
That's fine.
Thank you very much. You're good. Hi, my name's Stuart, actually.
Stuart?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Your name?
Oh, Tim. Sorry.
Tim?
Hi, Janine.
Hey, Gene, how's it going? You guys mind if I grab some
go ahead.
literature for the... There we go. Actually, you know what? I used to study the Bible
Oh, okay.
with Jehovah's Witnesses
Oh,
once
okay,
upon a
back in
time.
the day?
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
I was... about
Whereabouts?
Montreal.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was 17,
Yeah.
turning 18 when
Yeah.
I wasn't contacted in the house-to-house ministry.
Yeah.
It was a friend of mine who was a return visit,
Okay.
and he had some literature laying around,
Right.
and so he had a bunch of books and tracts and whatnot,
Yeah.
and it was that one little tract, Who Really Rules the World?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that Jesus couldn't deny that Satan could make the offer, prove that Satan was
Yeah.
the ruler of the world.
Yeah.
And at 17,
Yeah.
that blew my mind,
Yeah.
you know, that blows a 17-year-old mind away. So I was hooked for life, right? I started
Yeah.
studying, and the couple that was studying with me
Yeah.
was an older couple.
In English or French?
In English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
in English. And they were coming to get me at my home, bringing me to their home
Right.
to have the study, and then bringing me to school for my first class.
Oh.
So they
That's
were
pretty
going.
dedicated.
They were. It's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was pretty dedicated.
Yeah.
At the
So you
time,
would have
at
been
the
in what,
time,
grade 11, 12?
I was in first year college in Quebec.
Oh, okay.
At that,
You
at
started
18,
early.
right?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Great.
So then, about 5 or 6 weeks after I started studying,
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, I'll come to a meeting
Yeah.
as long as you guys stay with me, because I don't like crowds. I
Yeah,
don't like
yeah.
a crowd of new people. And they said,
Yeah.
okay. So they came and picked me up, took me to that first meeting,
Yeah.
and I guess that they had been talking to me about me a little bit, so that when I went to that first meeting, like 20 people, like 20, 25 people came up to me and
Oh,
were like,
wow.
hi, are you Stuart?
You were probably like, oh, man.
That's right. I was.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what I was. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
look at these loving,
Yeah.
friendly people going out of their way
Yeah.
to ask me to sit next to them.
Yeah.
This couple going out of their way to study with me. And so that was it, right? Like that was about 18, and then I got baptized when I was 24.
Okay.
And then I regular pioneered for about 6 years. I was an actor for a while and came back.
Right.
And I was at a congregation downtown over here in Stanley Park, Robson Street, Kingdom Home.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stanley
yeah,
Park,
yeah.
Deer Lake, English Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I kind of had to stop taking what you guys teach quite so seriously,
Okay.
because I kept discovering that according to Watchtower,
Right.
not the Bible, because the Bible never changes, right? But according to Watchtower, oh, by the way, when did you get the truth?
My parents were.
Your parents were witnesses?
Yeah.
And yourself, when did you get the truth?
Yeah, my parents are witnesses.
So you're both second generation witnesses?
Yeah, could be third.
Could be
yeah,
third,
My,
yeah.
my grandparents too. Started
Interesting.
studying after.
Yeah.
Like my mom was 12. when
Okay.
She started studying.
Okay. Yeah, so pretty young, yeah.
Yeah.
So you were raised
As a witness.
pretty
yeah.
much as a witness, yeah. So I started to learn that according to Watchtower, what the Bible really teaches
Right.
wasn't what the Bible used to really teach.
Right.
So I started asking myself, okay, is something true because people are raised exposed to it and are going to believe it for life?
Right.
Is something true because people believe it and spread it and translate it? Or is something true because it proves to be as true tomorrow as it did today and the day before? And unfortunately, with doing some really objective research into Watchtower teachings,
Right.
I wasn't able to say that
Right.
about the truth.
Right.
Like, and I started thinking, it's interesting that you guys call it being in the truth, having the truth. When did you get the truth?
Yeah.
When really the search for truth never ends.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, loyalty to Watchtower was preventing me from being honest about my search for truth. And then in the process of challenging myself and doing the research, I discovered the failed predictions, the changes on the doctrine, the faithful and discreet slave, the superior authorities, the generation, the faithful and discreet slave becoming only the governing body, and it was just change after change after change after change. And I said, well, you know, obviously this isn't the truth. So I started doing some really digging, some real hard digging.
Yeah.
And then hi.
How are you?
Good, how's it going?
Good.
Why'd you just show up just now?
Oh, I'm just switching off.
Are you switching off?
Yeah.
Every time I get into a good conversation with you guys, you're switching off.
Well, just
It's like 15 minutes we take.
Yeah.
And we just go
That's an amazing coincidence though, like every single time, you guys are switching off.
Well, it depends how long you're here.
I haven't been here for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like I've had conversations with you guys before at the carts,
Yeah.
and every single time the
Well,
conversation doesn't go a
every-
way that flatters you,
What's your
or
name?
in a way that you can control.
Oh, Stuart.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you guys you come up and have to have a shift change.
Yeah.
But this isn't really a shift change. This is more of an opportunity for you to sort of be 3-on-1 right now, isn't it?
No, I'm leaving.
You're leaving? Okay, good. Yeah. Off you go.
You're a little.
Believe me, I'm not. Believe me, I'm not. Actually, last time I was talking to you guys at Burrard Station, the brother didn't like the way the conversation was going, and he pushed me.
Oh, that's not nice.
It wasn't nice. And then you know what else happened? He called the police
Oh.
to try to tell them that I was harassing them.
Oh.
So he pushed me, and then he called the police to say I was harassing them.
Oh,
And then a couple of days ago, a sister, right in front of Granville Station, like, I guess it was shift change.
It
Yeah.
happens every 15 minutes.
Let me finish. I guess it must have been shift change, which is every 15 minutes. And so she came out, and without even knowing, like I was having a conversation with somebody, she came out, and before she even knew what I was talking about, she goes, "If you don't leave, I'm going to call the police." And I said, hold on. And then I said, okay, fine, call the police. And then she called the police, and she said, I've asked him to leave. So I ask you, is if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police a request or a threat?
Well, she probably asked you.
Is it a request?
before.
No. Is it a request or a threat? If I say to you, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police, is that a request or a threat?
Well, I'm thinking, did she say? Could
See, you don't want to answer the question. That's amazing. Like, I've noticed that about cult
It's a
members.
threat.
It's a threat.
So
She threatened me. I love that you admit that's a threat. So you go around threatening people who don't agree with you, and then call the police to try to come back you up.
do you ever feel like you make us feel really uncomfortable just by your demeanor?
Do you ever feel like you make people really uncomfortable standing here thinking you have a corner on what the Bible really teaches when, like, your leaders...
Did you actually just?
Are you an
stand
elder?
here,
Are you an elder, brother? Yeah, but you're kind of not just standing here.
No, I've actually talked to you before.
When have you talked to me before?
As in crossing, you said something to me as I was actually coming onto your ship.
What did I say?
Well,
I'm pretty good with faces. I don't really remember.
The conversation
have a
was just
mustache
really,
like
the conversation was just really heated, and you actually had a camera.
That's a
on it.
pen. That's a pen.
Well, what's inside there though? Is that?
You were telling me about a
camera?
conversation I had with you. Please
You
remind me.
were coming off of talking to someone,
Uh-huh.
and it was just in passing. I guess it wasn't a conversation.
Where was this? Over here or Granville Station or
Granville
Metro?
Station. Yeah.
Granville Station.
Yeah.
Was I talking to an older gentleman and a younger gentleman, or two
I think
sisters?
so,
Or
yeah.
you think so?
Yeah, it was a
You can't
older
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember you. I'm pretty good. You're telling me you remember me.
Yeah, I
He
do
told
remember
me.
you.
He told me about you when you.
Oh, I wasn't here, so now I'm
Yeah.
here, and you can't really explain any more than that.
Okay.
Because I've noticed, like, you guys
Okay.
are comfortable lying.
No.
You're comfortable lying to the
Okay,
police.
how about this? You
You're
make me feel
You're comfortable.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well,
So
have
could
I
you
pushed you?
please leave?
Have I pushed you?
No, I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Please
on behalf
leave.
of the public of Vancouver, when people come up to you and don't want to let you pour into our minds with your cult
But we're just
nonsense,
standing here.
please don't push us.
Oh no, I'm not.
Okay?
I'm
And
just
please
saying.
don't threaten us and then call the police to come and back you up.
What you said before,
Which is actually really
if I'm
hypocritical.
nicely asking
Because
you
you
to
won't call the
please
police when children have the courage to talk about being abused.
No, but you are very aggressive the way you're speaking to me.
Oh, do I need to be a little softer?
And
Will
also condescending.
will that make it a little
Also
better?
condescending.
You know who's condescending? You know who's condescending? You guys.
I just
Couldn't be more condescending. Considering what you believe about yourselves, considering the assertion you make about every single other person walking past, and I know what your beliefs are, you guys, and no one is denying this, you guys are the condescending ones. And you guys are the ones who push people when they disagree with you, who threaten people when you don't know the whole conversation and then call the police to come back you up. Yeah. So when you're going to stand here and represent a disgusting organization that won't talk about the number of people their policies are getting to kill themselves, who won't talk about the number of children are being abused as a result of your two witness rule, and who won't talk about the number of people who are martyring themselves in hospital beds needlessly, you're kind of asking, I think it's fair that you're kind of asking for attention like this. Like, I was having a conversation.
Just go to Jacob.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
because you don't want to talk.
I don't wanna talk
I've
to you.
noticed. Like, there was a
would like
sister.
to not talk to you
There was
anymore.
a sister who I was trying to have this conversation with before, and she said kind of the same thing. She's kind of like, I don't know why you're being so hostile. We're just standing here minding our own business.
Yeah.
You literally couldn't not be minding your business more. I mean, a person could literally not be minding their business more than by doing what you're doing, standing here, considering what you believe about yourselves and what you believe about everybody else. So please don't tell me that you're just standing here minding your own business. Okay?
If we don't, so like we don't really want to continue this conversation.
But I do want to continue this conversation because I can never get an answer.
So
Yeah, well, you're
would you
kind
like
of in
to
a
please leave?
no, I wouldn't. You're kind of in a public place.
So yeah, if you're saying the people are saying like you need to leave.
What I don't have. You want me to tell you what to
So we
do?
have to leave now?
You
Yeah,
want me
is
to
that-
tell you what
do
to
you
do?
want us to leave? Is that what you're
I want
saying?
you to answer some questions.
No, we're not going to do that because you've already asked these questions.
Well, I've got other questions. Let me see if I have another
No,
question.
go to
you're
the
willing to answer.
JWSA. and
Well, that's the problem.
this-
I'm not getting answers from these questions from the JW
No,
website.
because
So that's why
you're
I'm
not
asking
even,
you.
You're not talking about anything. You're just saying we're doing all these horrible things. Yeah, so that's
and
not a conversation.
fine. We've talked to you for now.
But I've
15
explained to you.
15 minutes.
I've
and
explained.
you're not
I've noticed this.
answering
I've
calls.
noticed this about cult members. Like the
Okay,
conversation.
it's over.
The
It's
conversation.
over.
The
It's over.
conversation doesn't flatter you. You can't control the conversation, so you just shut down and you start pointing fingers. No, you're not really listening. I've asked you a bunch of questions.
No.
How many people?
You ask a question and then you ask another one. You
Okay.
ask another, and
Okay.
then you accuse us.
Okay. How many people are killing themselves as a result of Watchtower policy?
I have no idea.
Okay. How many people
Are
are
we supposed to
martyring
take a
them?
record of that?
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice to see your leaders keep track of that. And the
We
interesting
could
thing is
probably
that
take a ratio of how many Jehovah's Witnesses
look
there
how,
are.
why are you getting so hostile?
Okay, then.
I'm
Please
sorry,
don't get
I'm
hostile.
sorry. I'm
Yeah, you
losing control.
should, you are losing control. I thought you were a true Christian. True Christians don't lose control. Yeah, so how many Jehovah's Witnesses, after being abused by one of Jehovah's Witnesses, how many Jehovah's Witnesses after being abused by one of Jehovah's Witnesses kill themselves because that abuse was treated as though it never happened?
Okay.
Because there wasn't a second witness, or because their abuser didn't confess?
It's over.
Right. How many Jehovah's Witnesses martyr themselves in hospital beds? Honestly, conservatively, like 150 in the United States alone. And there's a website called Advocates for Jehovah's Witness Reform on Blood, and they conduct what's called objective research.
Yeah.
It's called objective
Are you
research.
Jehovah's to our heart, or?
You don't have to worry about what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Okay? Just
I'm sorry
off
that
you go.
this happened and you don't feel like we're listening to you.
Oh, yeah.
But
Well, it's a
I'm
good
sure
it's a
you'll
good
talk to
example.
other witnesses later.
I'll try to talk to other witnesses later. I'll try. Unfortunately, this is what happens.
Oh, 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Just left.
That's too bad.
Anyway, my brother.
Aren't they such friendly people? Yeah. Are you a sister?
I am a sister.
Oh, I
this
know.
man, so I take contact.
They're
someone
so
who
friendly.
exchange, Yeah.
They're so friendly.
Yeah.
Oh. Which congregation are you in?
I'm with the Amharic group.
Which one?
Amharic group, Ethiopian language.
Ethiopian group,
Yeah,
okay.
So we're in Edmonton.
Yeah, I started studying when I was about 18, and it was such a unique experience. I don't think a person's going to learn anything. They're going to learn studying with Jehovah's. When did you get the truth, by the way?
In 1986.
86. Were you a teenager?
Yeah, at the
Roughly?
end of teenager. Yeah.
End of teenager. Still
Yeah.
pretty young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty young too, and I find that it's when you're young that you get exposed to the teachings
And then,
and the fear and the paranoia and the guilt and the superiority complex and the persecution complex of being Jehovah's Witnesses, that then you're set for life, and you call transit and you lie to transit about people, or you push people around who disagree with you. Did he tell you the whole story about what I was saying, or did he just say that there's some obnoxious guy hanging around? Yeah.
I would never use those words.
Oh, but you would use words worse than that. Yeah. But what's interesting is, see, this guy's calling transit. I'm sorry if I want to hear your conversation, because you've been known to lie to the police about people like me. Please don't lie to the police. Yeah. I was at Granville Station a couple of days ago, and I was having this conversation with the brother.
What's your name?
And then the sister came out. She didn't even really appreciate what the conversation was about, but she showed up and she said, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police.
Sounds about right.
And I said, fine, call the police. And then she said, I've asked him to leave, so I'll ask you. And the other sister answered very honestly, and I appreciate that she answered so honestly, is, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police. A request or a threat?
Well, if someone requests you to leave first and then you say, no, I'm not going to leave.
Yeah, but that's not what I said happened, is it?
I know, but
I love that how you fill in the rest of the story to suit yourself.
What was your name? Sorry.
I actually don't have a question. Is, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police, a request or a threat? She answered honestly. Would you say that's a request or a threat? If I said to you, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police. Is that a request or a threat?
I think after you request so many times.
See, it's interesting. You don't want to answer? No, but what did I say about that conversation?
You know, honestly, man, I don't
You're
really
not
wanna talk to
remembering.
you.
You're
Yeah.
not remembering because you're like not flattered by what happened. You can't admit that you're
Flattered.
just like the rest of us.
I don't think
capable
that conversation
of
was very
being.
flattering.
But she didn't even hear any of it. She
Why would
just
she
came
hear
right
it?
out, looked at me, and said, "If you don't leave, I'm going to call the police."
Obviously,
Is that a
you were
request or a
threatening
threat?
to her.
The other sister had the faith to answer that question. Can you answer that question? If I say to you, "If you don't leave, I'm going to telephone the police. I'm going to call Caesar." Is that a request or a threat? Anyway, regardless,
Honestly, yeah.
don't forget it. Regardless of it being a request or a threat, the fact that she then told the police officer, I've asked him to leave.
Well,
So she threatens
would you
me.
please
Hold on a
leave?
second. Hold on a second.
No.
So she
Would
threatens
you
me
please
with
leave?
police. Yeah, that's the thing.
So would you please leave?
Well, that's
Yes
the thing.
or no?
I have questions.
Yes or no?
Well, let me
Yes
finish the story. Let me finish the
No,
story.
no, because
But I haven't finished the
goes
story.
around and around and around. So now I'm saying,
I promise you, I'm
would
really
you
close to
please
finishing
leave?
the story.
Would you please
So she
leave?
gets on the phone with the police, and she says, yes,
So I
hello,
guess
there's a
no.
man here. We've asked him to leave. So you guys threaten people with Caesar, and then when you're actually on the phone with Caesar, hypocritically I might add, you say that then you're the delicate snowflake, who's the polite, delicate snowflake, who's asked somebody to leave.
Well,
See,
I'm
so it's in your mind,
politely asking you to leave.
because you're true Christians, it's okay for you to engage in. Have you heard the expression theocratic warfare? You know that expression, right? Are you an elder?
Okay.
Are you an elder? You know it doesn't matter.
Would you
So what
please
you guys
leave?
call theocratic warfare,
Stuart.
every single other person in the world calls lying. But I guess lying to the police is okay if you call it theocratic warfare.
So one
right?
question for
like
you.
I'm
Would
an
you
agent of
please
Satan
leave?
attacking you, aren't I?
Would you please
Well,
leave?
unfortunately, you're in a public place.
Would you please leave?
I have as much right to be here as you.
So you're saying no. I
So
will
I'm
not
saying
leave.
that unfortunately, as an ex-member of your religion, I and literally thousands of other people have questions that we're not getting answers from jw.org. So we're resorting.
We don't want answers. You just keep on saying how we're doing all these horrible
That's amazing.
things. So
That's
so
what
why
I'm
would-
saying.
So you don't want answers.
You're telling me what I want and don't want.
You accuse us of all
You're
these things.
telling me what I want and don't want. Just like you tell the police that you've asked me to leave.
I
You
did
lie.
ask you to leave.
You try
And
to
then
control
what did you say?
conversations.
What did you say after I asked you to leave? You said
Do you remember what I
this is
said?
You said this is a free space.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then what did I say?
And you're not.
And then what did I
clearly
say?
not leaving.
No, and then what did I say?
Well, you're physically still here.
I love
so
that you're not
haven't
telling me.
left.
See, you want to remember that little part about what I said, but not the rest. I'll remind you what I said. I said, as an ex-member of this religion. No,
What
trust
you're
me.
doing is bullying.
No,
I've
it's not.
taken training at work, and I know that what you're doing is
Oh,
bullying.
you're getting training from Satan's wicked system on how to be a victim? Yeah, which suits you when it suits you,
You're a
and when
bully.
you're being given opportunities to defend your faith,
I
you
don't
resort to being complete
appreciate
total
you
hypocrites.
bullying us.
I don't appreciate you standing here representing this disgusting
I don't
religion
appreciate
Okay, well, that's
you
the thing.
bullying us.
that is in a position to answer some tough questions, but is never going to answer them because to do so would to bring reproach on Jehovah. Right? But the problem is that it's not about bringing reproach on God. God doesn't need you to defend him. Like God doesn't need Watchtower. Watchtower needs people like you
Look, man.
who don't want to answer tough questions.
You don't want to leave,
so you
so
were telling
then
me how the
what-
conversation went,
so
but then you forgot the other part. So let me remind you of the next part.
What action do we have if you don't want to leave? And
The
you're
next part
here bullying us?
was when I said, yeah, he looks really official. He's an elder, right? Is he an elder? You're an elder. Let me guess, you're an elder. Yeah, anyway. So the next part that you conveniently left out, like you conveniently leave out all kinds of things in your disgusting cult, was that I said I was an ex-member. I'm an ex-member of this religion. And as an ex-member, the good news is I haven't killed myself. The good news is I haven't killed myself, like so many other people who leave this disgusting cult kill themselves because they can't handle all the fear and the paranoia that you people drill into their heads about Satan's wicked world, as if the only people in the world who can glorify God and bring praise to God and be Christians are you. So the good news is I haven't killed myself.
If I was saying a bunch of horrible things
And
about
so a bunch.
you, would you?
Yeah, but you don't know anything about me. I know
you don't
something
know
about
anything
you.
about me.
I know that you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses, bro, and I know that you're standing here representing this religion.
But you
Are you
don't
probably
know
a regular pioneer? Are you a regular
You
pioneer?
don't know anything about me. So you're saying
I
all
know
these
enough.
horrible things about.
I'm not saying anything about you. I'm saying something about the organization.
You just all your things you're saying was saying I was doing it.
I was doing it. Yeah, as a representative of this organization. Are you not loyal to Watchtower?
Look, in any scenario, if you
Are you not?
were reading-
You've accused me of something. I'm giving you a chance to explain yourself.
Yeah.
Are you loyal to Watchtower?
Look at man, I'm not going
See,
to
it's so
talk
good.
into your
You're
lies.
not answering the questions because they don't flatter you. I'm here to tell you that the people who leave this organization, who know as much about it as you,
So you
who've
made-
done as much.
Are
Let me
you
finish.
way better
That's
after
amazing.
that?
That's amazing. You
you
guys,
a
you don't let me.
scholarship
Oh, that's another thing. Amazing,
Are you?
ma'am. Please let me finish. The people who leave this organization of their own free will, okay, the ones who don't kill themselves, the ones who don't drown themselves in drugs and alcohol and hedonism, but who actually get on with resuming their lives before they became brainwashed into this cult. We have questions.
You want to listen to a scripture?
We have questions.
You want to listen to one scripture?
You know what, bro?
Probably right before.
But you haven't let me finish.
Well, the conversation goes
No.
around
I'm gonna
and
ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question.
Is
Okay.
it going to be
A flattering question?
Sincere
A
question?
sincere question? See, that's the thing. You're saying you're prepared to have me ask you a question if it's sincere. That's another thing. Like, I would remember, like, nobody ever really took an interest in joining the religion. Whenever I would stand at this ridiculous cart, or used to be street preaching, people would come up to me and they'd be like, no, I don't want to join your religion, but can you tell me where the bay is? Can you tell me if this is Joint
I have
Sky
had
train
these
station?
conversations, though.
And then or they'll say oh, I don't want to join your religion, but you're doing such a good job. Seriously, have you seen anybody baptized in the last 10, 20 years who never was exposed to Jehovah's Witnesses as a teenager, who wasn't related to one of Jehovah's Witnesses, who spoke perfect English at the time of their starting to study, and who wasn't romantically interested in one of Jehovah's Witnesses at the time of their starting to study, who got baptized?
I know.
Tell me about them.
3 people on top of my head.
Who fit those 4 categories?
Yeah.
Who are all 21 or older?
Yeah.
Never exposed to the truth?
Yeah.
Had no relatives who were
Actually
witnesses?
came in through the Metro Witness.
That's amazing. And I believe you. That's why I'm kind of doing this. Part of what I'm doing is documentary filmmaking. I am totally filming you, and I have a right to do that. So I'm asking witnesses when they got the truth. And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, you said it, he said it, Nicole, that hostile, threatening Nicole, said you were second-generation witnesses. And I'm saying that's what it takes for you guys to still be standing next to these ridiculous hearts in this day and age with all this disgusting stuff coming out of your organization. The fact that your fear and your guilt.
Can you help me? Sure. My phone number, can you please your phone?
Yeah.
I can see in okay.
You want me to phone?
They're really helpful. Oh, you guys are so helpful. That's kind of about all you're accomplishing here. You're helping people know what SkyTrain station this is. Yeah. Well, you're a cult member. You're a cult member. And actually, I can prove that you're a cult member. You can't prove that I'm a bully. See, you're just uncomfortable. Being a bully is depends on the perspective. See, the thing is, I've stood where you're standing. I've done what you're doing. I know what you believe, and I know what you believe about every single other person walking past, and it is offensive. You're passive-aggressively offensive. And whenever you get challenged on that, you resort to lying to the police, you resort to name-calling, you resort to omitting and twisting your own history, whatever keeps the conversation comfortable for you, whatever flatters you, or whatever enables you to keep controlling the conversation, that's where you go. And when you can't, you pack up and leave, but then you come back minutes later because you think you're really crafty. How many Jehovah's Witnesses kill themselves every year after being abused by their, let's say, witness parents, but then have that abuse treated as though it never happened? Because there wasn't a second witness. You know about the second witness, right? You're an elder. Because there wasn't a second witness, or because their abuser didn't confess. How many Jehovah's Witnesses kill themselves every year after being disfellowshipped and shunned by their own flesh and blood, who treat them? You guys have kids that you treat this way? You guys have children that you treat this way? If I was your son and I was talking to you right now, would you do this? You know what? If I was your son, I would go home and kill myself by what you're doing right here. And this is what I'm talking about. And of course, how many Jehovah's Witnesses martyr themselves in hospital beds by refusing perfectly standard medical treatment? There's a website called Advocates for Jehovah's Witness Reform on Blood, and conservatively, in the United States alone, 150 American witnesses kill themselves every year. Yeah. On what basis? Oh, remind me, brother. On what basis were the Bible students chosen as God's organization in 1919? What about copyright law? Has Watchtower ever knowingly violated copyright law? What about deliberately misquoting sources? Has Watchtower ever deliberately misquoted sources? Do you guys even know? What's the scriptural precedent for the many drastic changes Jehovah's Witnesses have made to their form of worship over the years? Sorry about that. Did you get what you needed to know? Did you find out what you needed to know? They're very helpful, aren't they? Yeah, they're really helpful people.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to study the Bible with them? You should study the Bible with them. Yeah. If you don't study the Bible with them, God's going to kill you. Yeah, so you better study with them. Hey, officer.
Okay, so I'll chat with you.
Sure.
Come over here.
Sure. What's going on?
What's happening?
Okay, so I used to be in this.
Okay.
All right. I used to be in this religion,
Okay.
and the whole thing of it is, it's a long story. You want to hear it?
I do.
Okay, cool. So I was about 17 when I first was exposed to this religion,
Okay.
and they teach that Armageddon is imminent.
Okay. That's these people?
Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay.
I was one for 20 years.
Okay.
They teach that Armageddon is imminent,
Yeah.
and the only people who are going to survive are the people who let Jehovah's Witnesses teach them what the Bible really teaches.
Okay.
So that fear, that guilt, that paranoia set it in when I was about 17.
Okay.
Still pretty impressionable, right?
Yeah.
So I
So
thought,
stuff that you're still feeling, are anxious, or what's the deal? It's still part of you then, or?
I told you it was going to be a long story.
Well, I know that's okay.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
This is my life we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not just doing this because I'm an asshole.
Okay.
And at the time, I wasn't able to learn things about this organization that a person is able to learn now, thanks to social media, other websites, and other research that's been conducted, right?
Okay.
And in the process, in the 20 years that I was loyal, now I'm 43.
Okay.
In the 20 some odd years that I was loyal to that organization, I saw red flag after red flag after red flag, but I just ignored it because Armageddon was coming any day, and because I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, God's true witnesses, and that kind of cancels out any suspicions you're going to have, right? Like if I'm telling myself I'm one of 1,000 people God has chosen to declare the good news to people in my community, that's going to make me feel pretty good.
Yeah.
That's going to make me feel good enough to stand out next to those cars and go to the meetings and dedicate my life and take a menial job washing windows or being a janitor because they're against higher education. So I was all those things. But then I started seeing red flag after red flag, favoritism, hypocrisy, and whatnot. And I started doing some real research.
Okay.
And then I found out about something called the Australian Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Abuse.
Okay.
And they looked at 15 organizations. One of them was Jehovah's Witnesses. One of them was Watchtower.
Okay.
And they discovered, and no one is denying this, no one in Watchtower is denying this, they discovered that between 1950 and 2006,
Yeah.
over 1,000 alleged pedophiles in Watchtower had files generated on them but were never reported to the police.
Okay.
And now Watchtower is being fined $4,000 a day by people who want them to disclose information so we can find out about how bad the situation is in the United States.
Okay.
If it's 1,000 in Australia, how bad is it there? And of course, their stance on blood. They don't accept blood transfusions. So, and they have a 2-witness rule in place, which makes child sex rape possible, right? So my question is, how many Jehovah's Witnesses? And of course, I don't know if you know what shunning is and disfellowshipping.
Well, you tell me, but
Okay.
I have
I'll
an
tell you.
idea.
Okay.
Right?
That basically means you and I are, you're my son,
Yeah.
and you decide you don't want, and I've raised you to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
You decide you've discovered some things about this religion and you don't want any part of it, and
Yeah.
you leave.
Yeah.
You will be what's called disfellowshipped. And in order for me to continue to be loyal to Watchtower, as my flesh and blood, as my son,
Yeah.
I have to choose between my relationship with you and loyalty to the organization.
Okay.
And if I'm going to be loyal to the organization, that means you get the back of my head. As far as I'm concerned, you're dead.
Yeah.
So
That would have been, so that happened to you?
that didn't happen to me. No,
Oh,
that didn't happen to
okay.
me. So no, this isn't a personal thing.
Okay.
Like I'm doing this on behalf of a lot of people who've killed themselves because that's happened to them.
Okay.
I'm doing this on behalf of a lot of people who've killed themselves in a hospital bed by refusing blood. And of course, I'm doing this on behalf of people who've been abused by one of Jehovah's Witnesses and have had that abuse treated as though it never happened because there wasn't a second witness or their abuser didn't confess.
Yeah.
So these are 3 areas where Watchtower policy is kind of really screwing up people's lives.
Okay.
And that information wasn't brought to my attention as long as I was only loyal to the cult.
Yeah.
It took being disloyal and doing some real research to learn these things. So I'm just trying to share something that these people are never going to have shared with them by only looking to Watchtower. And the first thing I ask them when I do this work is, when did you, they call it the truth.
Okay.
Like they say they're in the truth.
Yeah.
So I say, to speak their cult language, I ask them, when did you get the truth?
Yeah.
Like I said, I was 17, and like 9 times out of 10, they say, oh, I got the truth from my parents or when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, so that fear, that paranoia, that delusion, to have gotten it as a very young person, that's going to keep you loyal to the organization in the face of everything that we're learning about it. And I'm just like, let me do you a favor.
Okay.
It's
I'm listening. I hear what you're saying.
I'm basically doing, and the problem is that every time I try to share something negative about the organization, they resort to lying to you guys.
Yeah.
Like I was having that conversation a couple of days ago in front of Granville Station, and the sister came out, and before she even really knew what I was talking about, she looks at me and she goes, "If you don't leave, I'm calling the police."
Yeah.
So I said, "Okay, call the police."
Yeah.
And then she gets on the phone and she's like, "Oh, hi, officer. I've asked this bad man, to leave us alone. He won't leave us alone." But really, it was the threat.
Yeah.
So they play these games, and actually they're encouraged to play these games because they're true Christians.
Yeah.
It's okay for me to lie to you
Yeah.
because I'm a true Christian. I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses and have the truth. So I'm just friendly, gently challenging that because
So is that,
people are dying
is that,
needlessly.
I got you.
People are committing suicide unnecessarily.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. Like the fact that I didn't kill myself is amazing. Like I had to leave all my friends, everything. Like I was a full-time minister like them for 6 years.
Yeah.
I had a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
I had a lot of skin to shed
Yeah.
that like I can never go back to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to rebuild my life, and like amazing people are leading this cult and trying to rebuild their lives. So we're doing this kind of work. And
So can I ask you about that part of it? Your work is now, you are kind of speaking out at least to Jehovah's Witnesses to help educate them and hopefully say, this has been my experience with this cause and I want you to know. Is that kind of what
I love that you're helping me articulate what I'm doing because I can't fully do it yet.
Okay, but
There is no manual.
I know.
So I'm figuring this out as I go
I'm trying
along.
to get on the same page. So is that what you're kind of saying that to me? Is that
Say it again?
so your work that you're doing, you come around and you see people, Jehovah's Witnesses,
Right.
standing out here, and then it's something that you want to do is that engage in conversation.
Engage in
and
conversation.
Tell them what your experience has been and
What
some of the
thousands,
things.
what thousands of people's experiences has been.
Okay.
Who
So,
were two?
and
Who were
that's,
two?
that's what you mean by your work. You're kind of at least wanting to share
My
more
exercise
your
of my
exercise.
rights.
Yeah.
The way they're exercising their
All
rights.
right. So
to be in public,
you're
yeah.
free speaking towards them
Yeah.
and trying to get them.
And
to-
whoever else comes by and whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
And I'm not generating any money. I'm not requiring membership. I'm not asking for personal information. Like they asked me for my name right away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. Like they think they're cops. You should see the transition. Like it'd be cool. Like if you come up to them looking like you're an interested person,
Yeah.
and then watch them change from the friendly, loving, true Christian
Yeah.
to the cult member who will lie to the police about you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, it is kind of hypocritical because you should see what they teach about you guys.
Yeah.
Like you're just an agent of Satan. Like
Yeah.
everything you serve is going down, and
Yeah.
they're going to emerge. Actually, they're going to emerge, and they're going to step over your body, officer, and they're going to build their paradise over the body of you and your family because you didn't become one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, okay.
But it's okay for them to call you and lie to you to get me to go away.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
So that being said, though, do you think it's necessary that police get called out to these things?
That's not my choice. That's their choice.
Yeah. So, and how many people? Is this the same people who are calling the police on you?
No.
so
It's,
you-
these are different people.
So different. You
Yeah.
just have different people that say, okay, all of a sudden they're like, I'm going to call the police
Yes.
on this guy.
Yes.
And you hang around, and then the cops arrive, and then you talk to the
And I talk to
police,
them, and I talk to
then
police,
them.
and then I let you guys figure it out because I'm
Yeah.
willing to abide the law. But I'm exercising my rights just as much as they are theirs, and would
Yeah.
appreciate the opportunity to continue talking to them. I haven't threatened them actually. And the last time, the brother didn't like what I was doing, and he pushed me.
Okay.
He made physical contact, and then he called the police to have them come say, "Oh, he's harassing me."
Yeah.
So he makes physical contact.
Yeah.
So I disagree with you. You push me,
Yeah.
and then also call the police to say I'm harassing you. Or that other sister I was telling you, she says, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police. And I say, fine, call the police. And then she says, officer, yeah, I've asked this man. You see what I'm saying, right? So it's this
I know
game
what
they
you're-
play. So.
yeah. So that's the game, and so that's the game they play.
And they're encouraged to play it. Like
Yeah.
I know they get direction to play that. They call it theocratic warfare. Theocracy meaning rule by God.
Okay.
So because they're Jehovah's Witnesses, it's okay for them, honestly, literally, to lie to you.
And then but you want to engage in the game. You want to play.
I don't want to. I really would rather not. But I'm helping them see the absurdity of it.
And then do you know, like, so do you accept that? Okay, I meet a lot of intelligent people,
Right.
intelligent people,
Okay.
and I can show you in all sorts of churches
Yeah, right.
or motions.
These
groups
are
of
not
people,
fun calls for you. I
Groups
think
of
those,
people.
yeah.
There's not highly intelligent people, so they can play games and phone the cops. And I'm saying that's wrong.
Right. I
I know that
wouldn't.
it's free
That's
speech
your
on
call.
both sides.
That's your
Free-
call to
free
say that it's
speech
wrong.
on-
Yeah.
Well, okay, like out of all the calls, right?
Right.
I'm saying they play a game.
Do you answer as many calls from other cults as you do from Jehovah's Witnesses?
Well, they're hanging around more and more. So I mean, what? Right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so, but what I'm trying to say is that there's a game being played. The fact that you're coming and engaging with them, you're half of it. It's 50-50, right?
I'm interested in learning when they got the truth.
Okay. And
That helps
that's
me
totally cool.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Because these are statistics that
Yeah.
Watchtower doesn't present, just like they don't present statistics on the number of people who refuse blood and die, who commit suicide and die after their own flesh and blood shuns them,
Yeah.
and who commit suicide after being raped
Yeah.
and having that abuse covered up because of a two-witness rule. And I encourage you to look into the Australian Royal Commission into institutional responses to child sex abuse if you think I'm lying. Because their own leaders.
I
Yeah.
don't feel like you're lying, and that's not where I'm trying to.
I know. You got enough to worry about.
I'm gonna be in the middle.
No,
I'm not
I-
gonna just. I can agree with you, and there's a lot of shit that happens,
Yeah.
and a lot of bad stuff that happens. I can agree with you.
Yeah.
I see it every day, and I have access to a lot of
Yeah.
that information that not everybody gets.
Okay.
It's just, but the thing is that there's people that are not educated or smart enough. You could be messing with people that they don't have the capacity, like so. Because that's an example.
Give them a break.
It's
Are you telling me to just go away and give them a break?
Well, I'm
Because that's what's happened before. Like other people have done this work, and the last thing the cop has said is, "Would you mind just leaving them alone? Because we'd really rather not come babysit."
Okay,
Is that what you're telling me? Is that about what you're about to tell me?
No, that's not what I'm not trying to.
I don't want to babysit Jehovah's Witnesses. Leave them alone.
Okay. I'm trying to be cooperative with both sides.
Yeah, I know it's
But
tough.
I want you to understand that there's also an engaging factor for you.
Okay.
You're playing a part of it. There's two groups of people. There's them and there's you. And you're coming in to do this educational sort of whatever you want to talk to them. You want to find out information about them. You're playing a part. That's a part of you. You're creating you guys are now in this interaction together.
Okay.
Right? And you're playing a part in it. Right? If you removed one part, the conflict wouldn't be there anymore.
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It really wouldn't exist.
Okay.
But if you guys stick together, and if they, in their mind, say, okay, I don't want to listen to this guy anymore,
Right.
and they feel like they can't get out of it, or they have
Uh-huh.
to stay here, or one party you're not leaving, then they could feel cornered, or they could feel, I don't know what they feel, but
Yeah.
they're calling police.
Right.
So I don't think that's like, I just want you to know that in these situations, you're also deciding, and you're sticking in that spot with them. You're
Right.
staying there.
Okay.
And if they feel cornered or whatever, they're going to call police. They have to
It is
stay,
a battle
or
of
they
wills.
want to.
It is a battle of wills, officer.
It's a battle of wills.
Unfortunately.
And they
Unfortunately.
and they may not have the understanding or even want to hear. Like
Right.
when do people want to hear somebody else if they're set in their ways? Like if,
Right. Yeah.
my dad, I could try to tell him something and try to sell an idea or say, hey dad, you could have done that way better. Why did that happen? And he could just turn and say, that's the way it is.
Right. I don't want to talk about it. Go
so-
away, or I'm
so-
going to call the police, son.
Like-
Don't make me call the police, son.
Yeah. Or there's just people like, when do people actually want to listen? Or when is that point when you've listened to somebody,
Yeah.
and when do they decide that they're not going to listen anymore?
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I'm thinking. Like, part
You know
of
what's
it, part of
tricky?
it for
Yeah.
you is you got to be able, like, just look at their faces. I can talk to people. I can try to like be telling them about the law. I can try
Right.
to say what offenses that I'm here to like engage in here. Like
I'm not about to play games with it. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to play games with you. The way they,
well, I'm just saying that.
nobody can pull up their cell phone and threaten to call the cop on you, lying to
No.
a cop about Officer 244.
Yeah,
Yes,
no.
hello, police. Officer 244 just threatened me
Yeah, no,
when
no.
you haven't threatened me.
I'm saying like when I come
That's pretty tricky,
when
yeah.
I come to a case where I have to weigh out what's a criminal offense, what
Right.
happened here, right? And some people
They
don't even
push me,
They don't
and
even
they
believe
threaten
me,
me with
or they
police
don't
involvement.
even want to listen to me. They're
Right.
saying, no, this is an offense, and they won't even listen.
You look exactly like Ethan Hawke. Anybody ever tell you that? You look like Ethan Hawke. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so anyway, I'm just saying that even if I'm a police officer arriving to tell them about the law,
Right.
they are not listening to me, and I can tell certain people.
So you're
they,
blue in
they
the
don't
face.
They don't even want to listen because
Yeah.
they think that no, this is an offense.
I
This
want to
should-
listen.
this is-
I
yeah.
want to be educated because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's not lawful for me to push you and then call the police and cry harassment because you disagreed with me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's not lawful for me to threaten you with police involvement and then tell the police I've asked you to
Yeah.
leave. That's what I'm saying about the games they play.
Yeah.
And I
okay,
played
so-
them myself too when I was standing in their shoes, and it made me feel at the end of the day
Okay,
like
so-
a really dishonest person.
Yeah. So can I just ask
Like-
a couple because I'm on the topic of offenses and stuff like that.
Cool.
Did they threaten you in any way? Did they threaten you by saying, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to... I've asked.
Right.
I'm here trying to find out what happened. So,
What are some other possibilities, variables of that being a threat?
well, like, okay, so if it's a threat though, like, what are the points?
Is if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police. A threat or a request?
No, it's safety stuff. Like, a threat, okay, a threat.
Am I allowed to go around saying, if you don't take off that hat, I'm going to call the police? Am I allowed to be like a panic junkie like that? Could you imagine if everybody thought the police was there for them the way they think they're there for them? You guys would be answering calls left and right, babysitting the public. You'd be babysitting the...
We do babysit the public. That happens. People do that.
I believe
Now,
that.
Is that reasonable? Why are they doing it? Maybe they don't have the ability to understand. There's non-smart people out there, I can assure you. Right?
And then there's very smart people who think they're...
So I'm
they're,
saying,
yeah.
so they didn't threaten you though? No, like I have this weapon. Did they show a weapon to you and
No.
say I'm going to hurt you?
No.
Okay. So that didn't happen today?
No, sir.
Did you do that to them?
No, sir.
Okay. So that's one of the offenses that I'm mixing.
Okay.
Okay. So the other thing is criminal harassment. What is that? That's like a threatening, or it still has that sort of safety factor to it. That
Okay.
I'm feeling threatened by
How
this
about
guy.
physically pushing me?
Okay, that's assault.
So that is a line they have crossed with me that I did not cross with them.
Yeah. Okay. Now, yeah. So that is assault. Do you want to take them to court for that?
No, but I'm saying that's okay. But then minutes later, he's calling the police because I disagree with him.
Yeah.
Because I'm challenging him on what he doesn't
I'm not
know.
saying it's right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right. And what do we do? I'm gonna come and figure that out.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm a police officer coming to the scene and I'm gonna get that story, right?
Yeah.
Push two.
That's right.
What happened here?
Yeah.
Is that assault? Yes.
And what's interesting
so-
is that like I'm talking to you and they're not standing here.
Yeah.
And he's talking to them and I'm not standing
Well,
there.
I'm gonna have a powwow with him,
That's cool.
and we're gonna have a quick chat, and then I'll be back talking with you. Okay?
Cool.
All right.
Okay. My name is Stuart.
Stuart?
Yeah. Please leave.